And the next thing I want to do is change the serpentine belt on it. And to do that, I need to get it off of the ramps because I need to remove this wheel. So let me work on the whole bumper thing. While I got the Honda outside and we have the space to fully open up the doors, let's go for some more easy things. Let's change the cabin air filter. So apparently this gets pulled in this way, this comes in this way, and it should just dip right down just like that. That's looking, I don't know, it's not looking good, guys. That looks pretty bad already from what I can see. Maybe I'm wrong. Oh, I am not wrong. Look at this. Clearly, someone doesn't know that this filter exists, guys. This looks like it might be like an original cabin air filter. Does it say Honda anywhere on it? It does. Honda. I guarantee you this is the original cabin air filter from 2000. Guys, 10 years. That's wild. All right, let's grab our new filter. Massive difference. I did clean out whatever I could inside of there to get any junk that might be lingering. So that's all cleaned up. Put the little cover back on it. Next up, let's change the engine air filter. I decided to leave the throttle body for now. I don't feel right taking the throttle body off to clean it if I don't have a new gasket for it. So I got that on order, and I'll deal with this when I have the gasket, because it would just eat at me if I put the throttle body back on here without a new gasket and then have to worry about it not sealing correctly. You know what I mean? So that'll be for a different day. That just pinched my finger. I've always hated how Honda does this with these air filters. There's like no space to get these filters out of here. It's just a stupid design. Anyways, let me struggle to get this out of here. So apparently after you take off these 4 clamps, all you have to do is separate the top half of the air box from this boot, which has no clamp on it. It's just like a friction fit, and it kind of comes off really easy. I guess Honda didn't make a stupid design. The only one stupid here is me. Okay, so the air filter, not the worst I've seen, but it could definitely use some service. There are some stuff inside of the pleats, nothing major. That's good. That means the filter isn't horribly old. Doesn't matter, it's still getting a new one. You can see the difference in the two when you put them side by side. Let's see. Yep, fits a lot better. All right, let me put this top piece on, and oh well, you know what, to show you guys. So yeah, it just slides right in. Look at that. It's actually pretty easy once you know how it works. All right, what else? Well, we're gonna do the belt next, and while we're in there with the front wheels off, we might as well do the front stabilizer links. All right, so I got the wheels off. I turn the wheels to the side. This is something that's odd. Usually you see stabilizer links where one end is facing towards you on the strut assembly, and the other end normally faces towards the inside of the car. But on the Honda Fit, they both face towards you. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Anyway, you know, as I go along, I feel like I have to keep adding more and more things I need to order. These were the rusty lug nuts that came off this thing. I don't like that, guys. If there's one thing I absolutely hate, is dealing with rusty lug nuts that could potentially cross thread because they're all mangled up. So I need to order all new lug nuts for this thing. Only a preference because, again, I'm the one that's going to be servicing this car in the future. So I want to make my life as easy as possible. Lug nuts aren't that expensive. And I just thought about something. I forgot about the windshield wipers. They seem to work well, but I'd rather just go ahead and order a set right now and put all 3 of them on myself, because I can see this already. My daughter's driving, whether it's rain or snow, and she says they're not working well, so she stops at a local auto parts store, and we all know how expensive wipers are in a auto parts store. You know what I'm saying? So if I do it right now, she won't have to deal with that in the future, at least anytime soon. So I'm going to put new wipers on it. Also, you can see This car is naturally from Indiana, right? Well, originally Ohio. This car was a Ohio car, and then it came to Indiana. Well, in Indiana, they don't require a front license plate. I don't know about Ohio, but anyway, the car is going to be registered to my daughter. She lived in Illinois, and in Illinois, you got to have a front plate on your car, but there is no plate holder on this car, so I have to order one of those as well. And I am ordering the bracket that goes right here to hold the bumper in. So just keep adding things onto the list. Anyway, let's go ahead and get this belt out of here. You can see the condition of it. You see the cracks on the belt. Honestly, it looks pretty easy to change this belt. You can see we have a point right here on the tensioner to grab to. I'm gonna take a wild guess and say it's a 14 millimeter. I'm going to take a wild guess and say it's a 15 millimeter. I'm going to take a wild guess and say it's a 17 millimeter. Oh yeah, first try. Oh yeah guys, this belt's super easy to get off of here, but I'm going to need my third arm. Grab the new one and easily slip her on while we're in here. Shouldn't do the crank pulley last. Let's do this because the crank pulley has a lip on it and I'm just messing up left and right. Alright, the final one should be the water pump. Seems pretty easy that way. It's so much more difficult when people are watching me. Why won't you go on? Like I need a person up top to help me. If I try to do the power steering pump last, the belt keeps jumping off. Come on, what's going on here? Witchcraft is going on here. Yeah, I got the tensioner maxed out. Let's see if we could do the tensioner last. I don't know if that's gonna work. There's not enough space with the tool in the way. guys, let me check this belt. Make sure it matches the original one, because it should not be this difficult to try to get this belt on. Yep, it's about the same length as the original one, so what am I doing wrong? Okay. So it goes over the alternator. Behind the water pump. Over the AC compressor. Yeah, the belt is just tighter than the original one, because obviously it's brand new, but when you put them side by side, they are the same belt. Yeah, the logical thing to do is to put the water pump on last, because it's the water pump and the tensioner is the only one that don't have a lip on them. But the tensioner, because the wrench is in the way, that doesn't make sense. You can't really do that. So only logical one is the water pump. I thought this was supposed to be the easy part. I'm like, oh, the belt's super easy to get knocked out in 1, 2, 3. And here we are fighting it. Guys, we might be onto something. Just about got it. Come on, baby. Hopefully you guys are seeing this. It's like a crazy tight fit. It's on there. Let me try to line it up better on the tensioner side, just so it's perfect. Wow. Just goes to show how much the belt stretches over time. Yeah, that is a pretty snug fit, but it does go on. Like I said, when you try to match it up to the original one, you can tell it is the same part. Alright, so that's done. What a nightmare. Here was the belt I just pulled off. See all the cracks in it. If you ask me, this car probably belonged to a woman that did not maintain her car. That's what I see, all the signs here of lack of maintenance. You know what I mean? From the cabin air filter to the belt. I wonder if this belt, no, it's so worn down. You wouldn't see anything on it. But typically when you see like these brown, they have like a brown tint, a brown color to them, they typically are OEM belts. And guys, it takes a very long time for a belt to get like this. So that's why I'm like, this has to be the original Honda belt. 10 years. So I did start up the engine real fast just to make sure there's no squeals and everything's running good with the new belt, and yeah, there's no issues. Stabilizer link time. So I went ahead, hit them with penetrating oil, hit them with an impact gun, and they are putting up a fight. They're pretty rusty, don't want to come off. So I'm going to use this to heat up the nuts, and hopefully it'll help to get them off. So I'm just using my gear wrench pass-through socket with something to hold the shaft, and some more penetrating oil. The heat worked to really break that bond, and now you can see with not too much effort the nuts coming off. So let me go ahead and get this thing out of here. So I'm all done with the front stabilizer links. You can see both of them right there. Right, everything everything looks good. And I sprayed the nuts and the studs with CRC. That's why they have that gold tint to them. Only because I know all stabilizer links like have a tendency to just rust away. So if I could protect them from rust, the next time they need to get serviced, it'll be a lot easier. So at this point, I got the front wheels off, the car's on jack stands. I thought about doing the brakes right now, but then I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I think I'll save the front brakes for later this evening. For right now, since we have daylight outside, I think I want to jack up the rear end, take the rear wheels off while the front is on jack stands, and let's finish this brake fluid flush. Just want to raise it just high enough to get the rear wheels off of the ground. Should be good. All right, so I want to start with bleeding the brakes at the rear wheels. What's nice is that all of the bleed valves still have a little rubber dust boot on them, so that's good. I've gone around spraying each of the bleeders with penetrating fluid. The back ones appear to be in better condition than the front ones. The front ones are pretty rusty, so hopefully none of them snap off and I won't have to buy any wheel cylinders or brake calipers for this thing. Don't forget guys, we do have new drums, new shoes, new hardware kit, everything for back here, but this is not getting done today. I just want to bleed the brakes right now. So we're good to go. The first bleed valve did crack free with no issues at all. Now guys, for bleeding brakes, I have all kinds of stuff, from pressure bleeders, vacuum bleeders, all kinds of stuff, but we're going to use nothing but the best, the water bottle method. So over the years guys, it doesn't matter how many fancy tools you buy to bleed brakes, I keep coming back to this method. It is just tried and true and works absolutely fantastic. So you can see this end is submerged in old brake fluid, and I'm gonna go ahead and crack this free, and then I'll go inside the car and pump the brake pedal. Typically what I like to do is, if I got the fluid right here, I like to keep pumping it until I almost completely fill up this bottle of water. Well, it's no longer water, but you get the idea. And once we get that much fluid out of this line, then that line should be completely purged of the old fluid. Alright guys, so that's the very first wheel done. And of course, while I was pumping the brake pedal, I was checking the reservoir up front to make sure it does not go empty, and I kept topping it off. So that's going to be the game plan for each and every wheel, and hopefully I don't run into any issues, so fingers crossed. Okay, so I'm just about done bleeding the brakes. I went through almost 2 containers of 32-ounce brake fluid. So that's a lot of brake fluid through this little car, but I just wanted to make sure we get all the old stuff out of it, or the best we can do. If we look inside of here, you can see that brake fluid is filled, but look how crystal clear it is, like water, even though it's filled. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and cover that up. Yes, I know I'm not supposed to leave it exposed like that, but none of the bleed valves were stuck, none of them were anything. They just all cracked free just like normal. So I sprayed each bleed valve with brake parts cleaner just to kind of rinse it off, and now I'm going to spray each one with some corrosion protection just to make sure in the future that rust doesn't creep into the threads, and the next time I have to service this, make sure there's no issues. And of course, don't forget to put on the little rubber cap. So let me go around and do the same thing for all 4 wheels. Alright, so the front brakes, I was going to push it off till tomorrow, but I got bored in the house and it's like midnight. So I'm like, you know what, let me just go out here and get some work done. Started with the front brakes, and I already got the front right side done. You can see new rotor, new pads, everything looks good. But I'm not liking this caliper, guys. It was actually very difficult to push the piston in on the caliper. That's not normal. And in my experience, when you have to push in a caliper piston that hard, it typically fails soon after. This is when I get customers calling me the next day, 2 days later, whatever, a week later, saying, hey, my caliper is locked up on my car, the brakes are smoking, blah blah blah. And that typically happens whenever I have to fight a piston to go into a caliper. So that's not good. I got to keep an eye on this. That means after I'm done doing all the work that I have to do on this car, I have to give it a thorough driving, and who knows, I may just order replacement calipers for it. And you know me, guys, if I'm doing the calipers, I'm going to be replacing the brake hose as well. That's just how I do things. You can see how this spirals out of control really fast. Anyway, let me go ahead and get started on the front left side, and let's see if this caliper is going to have a similar issue. Okay, so here on the front left side, I wanted to get the piston to come out. So I got in the car, started pumping the brake pedal, and of course I had two old brake pads sitting in here so that the piston doesn't completely pop out. And I just wanted to extract that brake pad so that I could contract it again and see how smooth it goes, because the old brake pads, well, the ones that are on the car right now, they look almost like brand new pads, guys. So they got plenty of life. Like someone pad slapped it. So you know, the piston was almost fully in, and there was no way of me telling how well it moves. But now that I'm trying to force a piston in using my tool right here, this piston seems to be going in perfectly normal. See, I don't feel like I'm using excessive force or anything. The front right side was a completely different story. Yeah, so much easier to push this piston in on this side. Here goes that caliper bracket off of the front left side. The slide pins, thankfully they still move. They're a little stiff, but they still move. That's a big plus. So we'll take them out, clean them, re-grease them, and you can see the amount of corrosion sitting on this bracket. So let's take it over to the sandblaster and clean all this crap up. I did notice that when I was trying to remove the old pads, they weren't completely seized, but they were in there pretty stiff, and that's due to this corrosion buildup. It's called rust jacking, and it squeezes on the brake pads, and that's not good. We want the brake pads to be in there just perfect. So over to the sandblaster. Now, sorry about the glass on my sandblaster. It is very etched, and I do have to replace the screen on it, so you guys can't see much. I can barely see anything, trust me. It's very difficult. But you can see I got the gun right here in my hand, right? Here goes the caliper. So I'm just gonna go ahead and sandblast it. If I would turn on my air source, of course. Alright, so I'm all done with the sandblasting process and even cleaning and re-greasing the slide pins. You can see they easily spin and move in and out. And you can see the big difference to where the pads are going to go from the sandblasting on the caliper. Now, after I sandblast any caliper, I always spray it with CRC to protect it, because any bare metal like that, if you don't protect it, it will start to rust immediately. Alright, so there we have it. I sprayed the sandblasted areas with CRC to protect the metal. Of course, we got brand new hardware kit. Here goes our pads pre-installed, and you can see how they move freely. They are not seized. I'm trying to not touch the surface of the pads, but look how nice they move. No issues at all. Okay, so now we can, oh, too much. Now we could grab this whole assembly and go over to the car. Alright guys, so I finally ran into a problem. I was putting on the bracket with the new pads onto the knuckle, tightened down the first bolt up here, torqued down perfectly fine. When I went to hit this one, pulled the threads, all of them. The bolt looks fine. It's the threads on the caliper bracket that are just stripped out. So this car needs two front calipers. And like I said, if I'm doing the calipers, I'm replacing these 10-year-old brake hoses up front. So two front calipers, two front brake hoses. The bill just keeps going up. This sucks. And yes, I was using my impact gun to put them on. But guys, you know, I've done this 1,000 times, hundreds of cars. And I know better that when I'm tightening down bolts on a caliper bracket, you just got to know your tools. You know if you're giving it too much or too little. You get what I'm saying? I've done this a million times. This was not a result of me using my impact gun, because what happened was, you know, I was just threading it in like normal, and once the flange of the bolt bottomed out right there, you know, you want to give it the 1 or 2 little ugga-duggas just to make sure it's fully torqued down and sent home. And as soon as I did that, it just started spinning immediately. It actually started spinning so easy that I guarantee you, if I were threading this thing in or tightening this thing in by hand using a regular ratchet, it would have pulled the threads anyway. That's how easy it pulled the threads out of these things. So, yep, that's where we are. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and put it together the best I can. The top bolt over here still torques down perfectly fine. And the bottom one, I'm just going to put it in there and leave it there. I just need to be able to get the car out of the garage and park it back in the driveway until the new parts arrive. Obviously, I'm not going to be driving it like this. All right, so as you can see, it's on there good enough, just enough to get the car out of the garage. And again, look how nicely the pads move inside of here. They're not seized or anything. So really nice. That just kind of upsets me because I spent a good amount of time with the sandblaster to make sure I get this area where the pads go nice and perfect, and that was all for nothing because it's all going to get replaced now. So of course I had to check the bolt to make sure I don't got to replace them, and I ran it through a die and it checks out. It's perfectly fine. And in fact, here goes what I took off of this bolt. That's the threads from the caliper bracket. So yeah, the bolt is stronger. And yep, definitely pulled threads, but the bolts are fine, so that's good news. I don't have to source out new bolts for it. It really is just a new caliper that I need. All right, so it's a few days later and we got a few more parts in, and even something that I missed before. I'll show you guys right now. So we got our brand new front mount for our plate. I need one more screw to go in the center to hold it up like that. So once I get that screw, I'll put that in and that will look real nice. I don't got the front plate on it right now for obvious reasons. So I also went ahead and replaced all the wipers. Brand new wiper. Even the one that goes on the rear of the car is brand new. What else? Oh, I came to open the hatch and I noticed that the hatch struts were like, you know, had all this dirt and grime right here collecting. Basically, you could see the oil leaking out of the strut, and it was collecting a lot of dirt and grime. You could tell that the struts were pretty weak, so I went ahead and replaced them. And now when you go to open the trunk, you have to watch your teeth because this thing will come up and smack you like really fast. They just need to get broken in. Obviously they're brand new, they have a lot of pressure, but it's better than blown out struts. As far as the brakes, I went ahead and started on the front left side. You can see we got our new caliper installed along with a brand new brake hose, and everything went perfect as far as disconnecting it from right there. As you can see, I sprayed everything down with CRC to protect it from corrosion in the future. I've already bled this caliper. The pedal feels great, but we still have one more to do on the front driver's side. And I'll show you the stuff for the front left side. Here goes our caliper, another brand new brake hose, and for this side I even bought brand new bolts. Now I told you guys I checked the bolts, the original ones, and they seemed fine, but I didn't want to take that chance. These parts are so cheap that if you're replacing a caliper, replace the bolts with it. And this time I'm not going to use the impact gun to run it down. I'll just use the actual torque spec and a torque wrench, so it'll be perfect, just like the front right side. Torque wrench for everything, and everything came out perfect. Oh, and one more thing before I forget, I did get the new lug nuts I was talking about. See how nice and shiny they are. Look, don't mind the don't mind the rusty rims. That's why we got our hubcaps. But the new lug nuts are nice to work with. All right, so I'm done with the brakes. Just finished the front left side. Front right side is already done, like I showed you guys. See, we got our brand new brake hose, new caliper, new pads, new rotor, new everything. Here goes the old busted stuff. You can see how crusty that is. So real big difference here. I already went ahead, bled the system, and just about ready to take it out for a test drive. Alright, since I finished the front brakes, I decided it warrants a test drive. Now, I still have to do the rear drum brakes, guys, but I just want to make sure everything's good. As far as now, it has a complete brake fluid flush, front calipers, front brake hoses, and that's why I thought that, you know what, this deserves a test drive. And guys, the pedal feels really good. So let me just continue to drive, and I'm not expecting anything weird to happen. Oh, I did notice that the new stabilizer links are making a difference. It sounds nice and quiet up front. Oh man, I'm like lightheaded. I don't know why, it just hit me out of nowhere. I just feel like crazy dizzy. All right, let me get this over with. So I know I said I was gonna move on to the, God, I feel dizzy, to the rear drum brakes. Yesterday I test drove it after doing the front calipers, and the brakes feel fantastic. But I absolutely hate doing drum brakes, so I'm doing everything in my power to push it off to the very end. So I got the bracket in for the bumper that goes right here, and we can see how bad this is, the misalignment, how much this bumper sticks out. So I'm hoping that the new bracket is gonna fix this issue. Let's find out. I don't know why I just got so lightheaded right now. I just feel dizzy. So I peeled back the bumper just enough to get in here and remove the old part. It was held in with one self-tapping screw right here in the corner. Of course, that's the sign of any hack job, self-tapping screws, of course. Thankfully there was only one, so I sprayed that hole with CRC to protect it from rusting. And then there was a bunch of what I think is this might be like window caulking, you know, for like auto glass, maybe like window silicone, I don't know what to call it. But I had to peel that off. Got the new part installed, so I'm about to attempt to pop the bumper in. Let's see how good it looks, or if it even makes a difference. All right, so I'm all done with it. It's not perfect, guys. You can still see, you know, a gap like right here, but I'm noticing a difference looking from this angle. This thing used to stick out a lot, like real far out here. So it does look better. Is it perfect? No, not at all. But what do you expect from a car that's been in a fender bender? But I'm happy with it. That little bracket was not expensive, and it made a noticeable difference.